Hi everyone, this is Short Stories with Lola. Today's episode is a story of love, tradition, and the courage to choose happiness. It's about a young woman navigating the expectations of family and culture and the unexpected journey that led her to a life and love she never imagined. I'm sharing my story because it represents a journey of love, tradition, and breaking free to find my happiness. I'm a 28-year-old woman from a fairly wealthy Igbo family. My parents have always been steeped in tradition, particularly my mom. Ever since I was a child, she referred to Chike, the son of her closest friend, as my husband. She'd say it so casually, but even as a child, it planted an idea I didn't fully understand. I heard the same from my older cousins about arranged marriages, either to build alliances or keep wealth within the family. Growing up, Chike and his siblings were like family to my siblings and me. We traveled together during summer holidays, celebrated birthdays, and spent holidays like one big happy family. But in high school, things began to shift. Chike, who is 3 years older than me, became someone I found undeniably attractive. He was good looking, confident, and charming. And we even shared a kiss in secondary school, just before he graduated. At the time, I thought it was romantic. We both ended up at the University of Salford in England. It seemed like fate. He was a year ahead of me, and our families were thrilled. My mom's constant reminders of how beautiful our children would be echoed in my mind. By the time I was in my second year, we became a couple. At first, I thought I had everything I ever wanted. Chike had the looks, the charm, and the approval of my family. But being with him wasn't what I imagined. Chike was a ladies' man, and stories of his escapades kept finding their way to me. When I confronted him, he always had an excuse, but the first time I caught him cheating, I broke up with him. That didn't last long. My mom called me and convinced me to forgive him, using words I still find hard to digest. That's how our mena. Your father had all these small girls, but as long as he came home and cared for us, I ignored it. You've called him your husband since you were a child. My dear, this is how marriage works. I reluctantly went back to him, but things didn't change. Even after Chike proposed to me at a Christmas event in our village, I couldn't shake the nagging feeling that I was settling for less than I deserved. I told myself it was normal, what my mom had taught me. Then I moved to Chicago for my master's degree in biomedical sciences. Chike visited occasionally, but he spent more time with his friends or at his New York apartment. I buried myself in schoolwork until one day at a conference, I met David. David is Japanese American, born and raised in California. He had moved to Chicago a year earlier and worked as a research scientist at a prestigious lab. At first, we bonded over science. Our first date was more of a professional discussion, but something about him intrigued me. He was so different from Chike, kind, attentive, and grounded. Over time, we grew closer. David didn't judge me or tell me what to do, but he did say something that stuck with me after I opened up to him about my upbringing and engagement. He said, "Why sacrifice your happiness for someone else's expectations? Your parents lived their life. Why shouldn't you live yours and find your happiness?" 3 months later, David confessed his feelings for me. I tried to resist, but I couldn't deny that I felt the same way. I never saw myself being attracted to an Asian man, but he treated me in a way I'd never experienced before. For the first time, I felt free to be myself, goofy, emotional, and imperfect. After 5 months of dating, David introduced me to his family. They welcomed me with open arms. His mom, who had faced cultural challenges of her own when marrying David's father, encouraged me to live my truth and open up to my parents instead of leaving them in the dark. She's protective of her son, but as a woman, she understood how I felt. Her words gave me courage, and 2 months later, I ended things with Chike. When I told Chike I wanted out, I was done, he dismissed me, saying, "Your friends are in your ear again. Stop listening to gossip." He thought I'd changed my mind like I did in the past, but I didn't. I called my mom after to tell her I had ended things with Chike, and seeing as he didn't accept his ring back, I was going to mail it to his New York apartment. She exploded. "You want to embarrass me and your father? What will people say? After all we have done for you. IJ, you are not a baby anymore. African women show more strength than this." But this time, I didn't let her words sway me. A week after, David proposed in the most thoughtful and intimate way I could have imagined. He had bought my ring after I met his family, and his mother helped him pick it out. Of course I said yes. I moved in with David after that. My sister, my best friend, an Irish twin who supports me fully, was the only person who had my new address. My family didn't take my breakup with Chike well. I was receiving back-to-back messages, but I ignored. My sister came from my graduation where she finally met David and his family face to face. They all bonded, and it made me even more happy. My dad couldn't make it because of business commitments, and my mom, who was still not speaking to me, obviously did not make it. The day after my graduation, we went to the court and got married. My sister and I agreed to keep my marriage a secret. It all still feels fresh to me. She doesn't even want to be the one to break the news to my family. She says it's my place to do so, and I agree. I don't live a social media life, so it doesn't really feel like I am hiding. I still have 2 close friends, however, who know I have a new man, but have no idea I'm married. I've learned to keep some things really private. 4 months into our marriage, I'm pregnant with our first child. David and I are moving to a new city for exciting job opportunities. He's been promoted to lead research scientist, and I've landed a role in clinical trial management. My life feels full, and for the first time, I know I'm living for myself. I love my family deeply, but I've learned that love doesn't mean sacrificing your happiness. My story isn't perfect, but it's mine, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. David isn't rushing me when it comes to my parents, but once our baby is born, I might finally break the news to them. This is Short Stories with Lola. I hope IJ's story inspired you to reflect on the importance of living authentically and choosing happiness, even when it's not the easiest plan. Thank you for listening, for watching and sharing. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. And until next week, take care and keep embracing the stories that shape us all.